5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And the kid sings. From a city that's getting less infected by the day, this is the Ramble with me. I'm Alex Bennett. We'll be here till midnight Eastern Daylight Time. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're looking at her. She's out there in Lake Oswego, or is it Oswego?
No, how many times do we do this? Oswego.
Oswego. Lake Oswego in Oregon. And what's the weather like out there?
It's gray today, normal Oregon weather.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, it's been gray here, and all of a sudden, I looked outside, it's sunny. So
that maybe happens around here about 4 in the afternoon when it's been a gray day.
Yeah. So anyway, this is my 6th week indoors, I would imagine.
I'm not counting. It just is.
It gets to the point now where you don't know what day it is anymore.
I don't have that problem.
Really, if we didn't have a little electric calendar that had a big word that says like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we wouldn't know what day it was. No, because my wife works from home, so we don't have that ritual of her getting in a car and going to work every morning. Okay.
She drives a car to work in Manhattan?
No. We hires a car to take her to work.
Oh, wow, that must be some big deal paying job.
Well, no, but it's also a not big deal paying trip either. It only costs her about $15 a morning. She goes at like 6 in the morning, so it's just traffic is really easy and so on. But anyway,
as somebody said recently, check your privilege.
Yeah, well, of course. But anyway, the fact is that she isn't going to work. She's doing all her work from home. So after a while, we forget like what day it is. So we make sure she doesn't do anything on like Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. Okay, that she just doesn't go in here and start working, because that way we can understand a little bit the ritual of what day it is. But otherwise, it's very strange.
Why Friday?
What do you mean Friday? No, Saturday.
You said on Friday, Saturday,
and
Sunday.
I said Saturday and Sunday. Excuse me. I said Friday, and then I changed it to Saturday and Sunday. Oh. And but I mean, you lose all sense of.
Well, you do. I don't.
Yeah. Well, but
time I lose, not days.
The only thing we feel fortunate for is the size of our apartment. And the fact that I have her here. A lot of people don't have anybody, and they're there alone. And
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And do you go out? I mean, what's the situation where you are?
I live by myself.
Yeah, but I mean, have you been going out at all?
I go to the grocery store once every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
In between, I go to the same grocery store if there's anything I have to do with getting a drug, because the pharmacy is in there too. And I go to the mailbox and the trash bins when needed.
Mm-hmm.
And not much else.
Now, what kind of gear do you wear when you go out?
I wear a homemade mask and nitrile gloves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Now, when you go out to get the mail, do you go through that process too, or do you just, because the reason I'm asking you is you wrote a very interesting blog the other day about what life is like now and how much trouble it is just to do something like go to the mailbox.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember? Oh,
I got this.
Yeah, you were talking about how you just have to go through all these different rituals.
The worst part is coming home with the groceries, and if you go only every 2 weeks like I do, mm-hmm. you're bringing home a lot of groceries. So before I leave, I take out the Lysol spray, and I take out a roll of paper towels, and I take out some bags, and then I bring everything into the front patio on that table, and then I wash down with the spray on with the gloves Every single thing I have bought, and put it in clean, what I know are clean bags, and then I can take it in. I leave the shoes outside, and then I put anything that has to be put in the freezer away right away. But then I go to the laundry room, take off all my clothes and put them in the laundry, and then take a shower. And that's, by the time I'm done, that's an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I have to, when I finish putting the groceries away, then I have to take a nap. It pretty well takes up the day.
Well, I go down to the I've been down to the mailbox a couple of times, and so I put on the mask, I put on the gloves, the rubber gloves, and I go down because I got to push buttons, right, to push in the elevator, and I don't know who's touched the buttons. And then I go down there and I get the mail out of the mailbox, and then I come back up, and now I go through the same ritual. It's like first what I do is I wash the gloves while they're on my hands, okay, in soap and water, and I take them off, all right, and then I do my hands, and then depending on how paranoid I am that day, I go take a shower, just like you. I mean, it's just it's amazing how what's the word I'm looking for? How careful you become in all of this, and how paranoid you become.
Oh,
in all
no,
of
no,
this.
no. The best part is when you screw it up.
Well,
I always screw up something.
If I were living where you're living, I would not feel as threatened as I do living in New York.
Oh, really?
Which is the most infected city in America.
Well, of course, we know that. New York, of course. I'm beginning to see why people don't like New Yorkers, because everything you've got or goes on in your city is worse or better than everybody else in the world.
Well, our numbers show
I
it.
would be no more afraid in New York than I am here, which is, it takes me 40 minutes to work up the nerve to walk out of the house every time I need to.
Well, you're also that way doubly because you have a compromising condition.
It doesn't have anything to do with that. I would feel the same way without it.
Yeah. But I mean, New Yorkers have a right to feel this way because we have been impacted, in a rather incredible fashion here. Compared to any other city, our percentages are higher. Things are going down now. Things have turned the other way. And as long as we keep observing the rules, we probably will be able to get it down to almost zero. But today we only had 480 deaths, I think, which is the lowest amount we've seen since the onslaught of this thing. But they've got refrigerated cars outside of hospitals to take care of the corpses. It's amazing what happened here. And it happens because we are such a big city and we are so compacted population-wise. And also because we have a lot of people coming into this town from other countries and so on and so forth, that this then becomes a hot spot, no question about it. And it's been the major hot spot in the United States. So I'm just afraid to go out, but we've learned to order in. Have you learned the joys of ordering food?
Done it twice.
I've ordered from this thing.
I don't really like it, and so I buy food in such a way that I don't have to unless I'm just too tired or lazy.
Well, we were missing the stuff from Costco, okay? Kitchen towels, paper towels we were missing. Cheese we like, a chicken or whatever. So I found this thing called Instacart, and it's not cheap, but they will send somebody over there to pick do all the shopping for you and bring it to your house. And so we did that. And then we also have another thing that Marjorie shops on for little food for dinners. All of a sudden we realized we've been ordering so much, I think we have enough food to last us for the next year. I think we're in for the onslaught, as it were. But
which is why nobody else can find any food.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a joke. I meant that as a jab, not a joke.
Yeah. Well, come on, we got to eat.
Well, you don't have to have a year's worth of food in your house.
Well, we don't know how long. We would rather stay in than go out.
Check your privilege.
Well, I will check my privilege. I have the ability. I'm lucky I have a large apartment. I don't get the cabin fever other people would get. I mean, I am getting a little squirrely, but I'm very fortunate that way. I'm very fortunate that I have somebody to suffer this with, who I can talk to. But still, it is. And I think we're irrevocably changed. I don't think that even if we get sloppy and slide backwards and a whole bunch of things, there's stuff that is never going to be the same as it was before.
Such as?
I think movie theaters are dead. I think they're gone. I don't think anybody wants to sit next to somebody else. And even if they move those seats further apart, I don't think people are going to trust that. I think watching movies at home is going to be the new normal. Restaurants, gosh, that they would have to really show me that they got tables far enough apart and paper menus that they can dispose of and so on, because we don't trust any of this anymore. Because all of a sudden people were becoming infected and didn't realize they were being infected, and it was too late at that point. So, I mean, it's just never going to really be the same. And I think Cuomo was on the air today saying that what we have to do is just learn the lessons of this and try and stay out ahead of a curve like this rather than be behind it, And so, all you snobby people living out there in Oregon, where you got parks you can go to and woods you can walk through and not worry about the virus, I think you've got a privilege too that way. What? What are you giving me the look for? I'm getting the look. Oh boy, here we go.
I don't understand why you think our life is better than yours.
I think you have more room. I think you have a more of an ability to be socially distant at greater distances. I mean, I wish I were living in California right now, where I could get in the car, go to the top of Mount Tamalpais, and not have to worry about bumping into anybody, and have all that fresh air and all of that. Meanwhile, I don't have that, and even if I go out, where am I? I'm on the streets of New York, and that is not exactly the country. So I think there's an advantage to that. I think people I have a friend, Larry Brown, and he has a car, and he says he goes over to Marin County and drives around in the back roads and so on, so that he can have some space and not bump into anybody. So I mean, but we don't have that luxury here. You're going to walk out the door, and there are going to be people there.
I just, I lived in New York for 40 years, Alex, and I walked around all the time where I didn't bump into people. If you're not in Midtown.
But you never thought about whether you were 6 feet apart from them. Sometimes they would get this close to you, but you wouldn't touch. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I don't have the. I wish I had a house in the country and we could be living in it right now.
You wouldn't take the virus up there for those people that don't have a hospital.
Well, no, but if I'm out living in a house that's up away from everybody else, wouldn't be a problem. If I moved into a neighborhood, that would be a problem. But I mean, I'll tell you, it has given New Yorkers a whole new appreciation. Once again, we have to be reminded of this, that we are a community and that we are responsible for each other, and that our actions are going to affect other people. And that's why you wear the mask, and that's why you don't violate the rules, because you want to bring the death rate down. And it's also the health workers and the police and the everybody that's involved in the front lines of this thing that you also want to protect as well. And I think New Yorkers, when asked to come to that conclusion and to come to that way of living, will do it. I mean, New Yorkers are very good. At night, you look out on the streets of New York, and it's empty.
It's true of every other big city, too.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, it's empty. I mean, New York, the city that never sleeps, I think, is the line. I'm sorry, it snores out there at night. The only thing you hear is an occasional ambulance, you know. And they're getting to be less and less, I might add. I've been judging the virus based upon the numbers of sirens I hear at night. You know, and I really don't hear that many any longer. So it's getting better, and I think we have a pretty good governor here. He's handled this very well. You know, he's acted like a true leader, and I've never been a big fan of him, but I am now. And every morning we're up. Hey, it's our big part of the day is hey, it's 11:30. The governor's going to give his latest statistics and his latest speech, and it's invigorating, to say the least. It's not that he tells us stuff is going to be better, or that things are better. He tells us exactly how they are, and then he gives us a little bit of a pep talk about we're doing a great job and we should keep doing it, because if we stop doing it, and gives us what would happen if we stopped doing it, how it could very easily backslide. And, you know, it's certainly more of a pleasure than the 6 o'clock show every night that goes on, in which we find a complete moron leading this country.
You still watch? Does anybody still watch?
I watch.
About 2 weeks ago.
I watch. It's kind of like you want to see how much you can suffer. And after a while, I just got to turn it off.
Anything that he says that's important, other people will tell us about afterwards. So there's no need. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see his. What he's doing is an election rally, and I don't need to attend one of those. If he says something that affects my life, sure enough, the news media is going to tell me. So
look,
yeah.
I know in this respect you're like me. You don't like people who are stupid. I mean. You know, I don't like people who are stupid. And he is just stupid. I mean, he's just unintelligent. I'm surprised this guy ever got even through a military academy. You know, I mean, I'm just amazed by his stupidity and how uninformed he is about everything. And we just needed somebody better than that to lead this country in a time like this. But unfortunately, we got what we got, so, you know.
Yeah.
There
we are.
As you sit there.
Where I am now, me?
Yeah. In Lake Oswego, okay? And you look out at the rest of the nation. How does it appear to you? I mean, how do you see it as unraveling? Do you see the problem is getting worse or getting better? What's going to happen to the economy? What's going to happen to old people? You know?
Well, old people are dying like black and brown people. You know, they're the most. Those are the highest numbers of people who die.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with my palliative care physician this morning, and I have lung disease. I have both COPD and I have cancer in one lung. So that if I get the virus, I'm dead. There's no point in bothering with me because I'm not going to survive. It mainly gives you a really bad pneumonia when you get the virus.
Right.
And so, you know, we made arrangements, and he's making sure that it's stated wherever it needs to be that if I am brought to the hospital with the virus, they don't ventilate me and just let me quietly go.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that was an easy decision. I had no problem with that. I just had to make him promise to do, without a ventilator, whatever they can do so that I'm not gasping for breath for any, amount of time before I just expire.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the point. I'm 79 years old. I've led a good life. So if that happens, it's just time to say bye. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to still do I'm so tired of all the cleaning. I have to clean the damn food all the time, and me and my clothes and the house and wipe down everything. God, I've never ever lived anywhere that I've kept as clean as this place.
We spray every box that we bring, gets delivered like from parcels and whatever.
You don't bring them in.
Well, no rubber gloves. We bring them into a foyer. We have a tiled foyer, and then we spray them down with disinfectant.
It would be better if you did that out in the hall.
Well, I'm not leaving my stuff out in the hall. Somebody might steal it.
Well, you see, that's the difference between Lake Oswego and New York City.
Okay, all right, you're privileged.
But I keep a box, a small box, that I dump all mail in when I bring it from the mailbox, and I just leave it there for 4 or 5 days before I look at it. And by then, any viruses that came in on it are dead by then. But the groceries, all that I do outside, as I explained earlier, and it just takes forever. I never meant to be this clean.
And you were a pretty tidy person.
Tidy, that's different from clean. Little piles are one thing, but the whole surface clean, that's a whole different thing.
I'll tell you what the worst thing is that's happened to us here in New York. We not only have COVID out there, we have the worst allergy season probably on record. I mean, every day it's approaching the 12 mark, which is the top of the scale. It's high every day. So you're wheezing a little bit, you're sneezing and all that, and you're going, do I have COVID or what? And the fact is, it's usually just allergies.
Just before we started this recording today, I was watching MSNBC, and there was a reporter who went to some kind of scientific lab where they...
I saw that. Yeah.
Did you see it? And where you coughed and how far it went?
Yeah.
6 feet is not enough. It's 12 at least.
At least. Yeah.
That was really eye-opening, that report. I hope they keep running it during the day so more people see it, because I thought it was really important to understand that. And I've had trouble at the supermarket with people coming right up next to me, bundling in next to me by the shelves. And the same thing at the mailboxes here. And I was getting stuff out of my mailbox a week or so ago, and a woman, I'm busy pulling this stuff out, and a woman comes right up next to me and going into a box below mine. And I said, could you wait? And she said, oh, I don't have the virus. Oh, really? How do you know that, lady?
you might have it and not have it so that you know it, and you still can then pass it to someone else.
That was my point.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's not secret news, everybody knows that. And I just don't get people. I just don't understand. I mean, that's only one. I've had half a dozen incidents like that at the store or the mailbox or somewhere. And I just don't understand people.
You know who's driving me crazy are all those people protesting.
I think that it's far more serious than just drive you crazy, I hope.
Well, I mean, it drives me nuts from the standpoint that how stupid can they be? You hear them being interviewed and you go, my God, these people are they're being led by a moron. But you just wonder about this. And then I said to myself, well, maybe it's God's way of thinning out the herd. I mean, thinning out the stupid from our society, because some of these people are going to get COVID just from that very activity.
And I'm sure, have already, that's happened.
Yeah.
But you see, it also affects you and me and everybody else. Somebody goes to one of those in Tennessee or Georgia, and then it gets in the car and, because we don't want to be around people, we want to be in the wild outdoors. Drives to New York or Oregon. I mean, I'm beginning to have some sympathy with people who want to close the state borders.
Well, our governor is very aware of that, and so he has a deal with all the surrounding states
I understand.
So
By the way, just so you know, the whole world watches, and we know everything you know. Not you don't.
Well,
have to be
I'm just saying it as a general thing to say here, and the point he does make is exactly that you want to go to Connecticut because there's a beach open. Well, you're going to take your disease with you if you do. The best place is just stay in place as best you can. Let's get through this. It's hard now because the sun is starting to shine and you're going to want to go out and do stuff, But hey, we've run out of time.
Okay.
And, we're both still here for another week, and that's huh?
We'll see what happens.
And that's the good news. Yeah, that's the good news. Well, I love you, dear. And always good to see you. Always good to talk to you and to just deal with what this is all about, Ladies and gentlemen, she is at timegoesby.net. That is her blog, and it's worth reading, especially when she writes about all the problems of having to change your clothes and take showers and go to the mailbox. And, in this day and age, that's interesting, folks. That's interesting.
Hey, if you're stuck at home for weeks on end, the laundry starts to get interesting.
Ronnie Bennett, ladies and gentlemen. Bye, Ronnie.
Bye.
5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Okay, Ronnie Bennett with us once again, and we love having her make her appearance once every couple of weeks on this program. Quickly, so we take care of this piece of business, looking at the world map. There it is. We are now up to 2,563,384 people who have had the corona virus, the COVID-19, novel COVID-19. It keeps having all kinds of names. And here in the U.S., of course, let's take a look here. We have 824,438 with a total amount of deaths of 45,042. Of those in New York City today, we're down to 480. I mean, for the day. Okay, so we're kind of proud of that a little bit, but we're not letting it get us too complacent, because if we get complacent, we'll kill ourselves. That's getting complacent in a situation like this is not something you want to do. Okay, I've got the lines open now. Let me turn on the green light. There we go. Now all the people can see that I am on, and we can talk to people. If you want to call, just give us a call, and then we will start putting people up in the in our little thing here. Hold on a second, folks. Oh, here comes Brian Neary. Oh boy, Brian again. Great. Good to see you, Brian. Always good to see you. There we go. There's a picture of you, and let me see here. Is he? Where is he? Okay, let me bring him on here. Oops. Wait a minute. There's Vernon Nunn. First of all, let me get Brian Neary in here. Brian Neary. There. Oh, come on. Jeez almighty. Every time somebody calls, it throws it off. There's Brian Neary. Your face is a little orange tonight. I don't know why.
Honor Trump.
Huh? Yeah. It's in honor of Trump, right? I didn't realize that. Hold on a second. Let me do that. Then I got to put somebody else in here. Hold on. Oh, people are calling like crazy. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Now hold on. Maybe nobody will call for a second here, and I can get somebody put in there. Let me see here. Yeah. Well, he was already in there anyway, so we'll let Charlie stay there, and then we go over to here, and we've got. And we can, let's see here. Who else do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Right. Okay. So there we go. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Charlene Martinez. Let me just, and Add her to the crowd. Turn on your camera there, Charlene. There we go. I want to put her in the number 4 spot. I'm doing this pretty good tonight, folks. I'm not going crazy. Let me see here. Oh, there she is. You got that. Maybe is that yours? No, that's not yours. That's somebody else's. Okay, here, let me look here. Is that, yeah, that's Charlene. Okay, there we go. Now, there we go. We got everybody. Hello, Brian. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Phil. Hello, Charlene. Hello, Jeff. And hello, whoever's going to call next. But it didn't drive me crazy to do this tonight. How are you all doing? How was your weekend? Anybody do anything interesting? Well, I guess nobody left the house. That's pretty much what that means. Yep. Yes, Jeff?
I went to New Haven.
You went to where?
To New Haven.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes.
Now you
to
live
see my dentist.
To see your dentist?
Yes.
Why?
Because I had to have some dental surgery.
Oh, did something bad happen to your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to your mouth that was so bad?
I guess I have an implant, or had an implant. It's sort of falling apart.
And it's falling apart. Oh boy. Oh boy. I haven't had one long enough to have that happen yet. Wait a minute, Vernon Nunn's here. Also, I have to put him in there. I think. Yeah. Are you there, Vernon?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Okay. Well, why? Oh, there we go. I need to put that there. Okay, there we go. And then I got to go over to the 8th spot. And who just called? Who was the person who just called?
Tony was money.
Tony. Tony. Okay,
Yeah.
I got to get Tony here. Hold on, Tony. Phony, Tony. Banana, phony. Tony, Webhead. There we go. Okay. All right. There we go. Oh, look at that. Aren't they all pretty? So anyway, so you had a dental emergency. What? I keep worrying about some kind of emergency happening. Like, I have a hernia. If it suddenly decides it's going to strangulate on me, or my tooth is going to go bad, or anything else, because I don't want to go anywhere near a hospital or a dental office if I can possibly avoid it, Not that under normal conditions I would go, but boy, with this going on, 45,000 people are dead now in this country because of this thing.
But he's doing a good job.
Oh, he's doing a great job of killing us.
Jeff,
The videos, the TV.
Yes.
Jeff, was the tooth under warranty?
Yeah, no, it was not.
They don't put a warranty on those things, do they? They charge you like an implant. What costs you about $5,000, right?
Yeah.
Cost me about $1,600. Mine's going to cost me for my part of it because I have the insurance. But I mean, it's not cheap, And so if it goes bad, you should get some kind of money back, or the guy who put it in should have to put in a new one.
You should go to Discount Implant City. They've got better deals. They're so good that you think that they fell off the back of a truck.
Yeah, and they probably did.
What kind of precautions did they take?
Yeah, exactly. Anybody else do anything interesting? I mean, dental surgery isn't necessarily interesting. It's certainly, well, as things are going, that is kind of exciting.
You could do it for me instead.
Yeah. I mean, like, what happened to you, Alex? Well, I woke up this morning and I stubbed my toe. Wow, really? Exciting. I mean, it's just...
Alex, are you still walking around with a post for your implant, or they didn't do anything yet?
I haven't started my implant yet.
Oh.
No, I haven't started my implant yet. So the implant will happen... probably it's supposed to happen like in a couple of weeks, but forget it. I'm not taking the subway down to the dentist.
My dentist
House calls.
What?
My dentist rescheduled my cleaning for June 1st.
Well, he's probably hoping against hope on that one. You know, I can't see that. At least here in New York, we're going to get back to. It's not even a question of normalcy, of being able to do anything I think till the end of the year. Yes, Vernon.
My son lives in Queens, I think I told you. And the other day, one day last week, he went for a ride on his bicycle and went up the west side of Manhattan, back down the east side of Manhattan. And he said he hardly saw any cars.
Wow. Yeah, I had there's a thing you can go to, and I don't know what the name of it is right now. It's something like Earth Camera or something like that.
Sure.
And they have Times Square as the live camera. And you can go there any day of the week. I went and watched it on a Sunday. There was nobody there. Nobody. Just empty. You know. It's gotten that way. And your son is in Queens. Now, you know, Queens is what can we call it? The hot spot of America. That's where the major amount of cases.
Thing, Alex. Me and Shecky have 23,000 cases here.
Yeah,
he only
I'm
lives
afraid to leave the house.
Elmhurst is bad, like Elmhurst.
Yeah. So I mean, Manhattan isn't doing that badly now, you know. So
My youngest son is in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good place to die.
Actually, it's a pretty expensive place to die these days.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought the Orthodox Jews weren't following the routines. They were gathering. They were having minyans.
Yeah, they're still doing all this stuff, and it's so far as I'm concerned, things like this, like those guys who are all demonstrating in those various cities, small groups of people demonstrating, but the ones who are demonstrating, I'm all for their activity because this is a way that we can like weed out the idiots, right? Because they'll be dead in another month or two. You know, go ahead, have your little gatherings, get together, do your whole thing. You're killing yourself. You're killing other people too. You're inconsiderate
I'm
little
hoping
jerks.
they drop Alex, those people. Let them go. That's less to worry about.
Yeah. You know, I mean, screw them. You know, if they want
the data.
What?
We'll need the data.
Well, yeah, right.
After they go home, and we can start to see how everything's working out. I think that's a big advantage that New York and I think even California will have is. We'll be the last ones to go back and see how everything works out. So.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys want to do that. Let them do it. You know, I'm not gonna stop them. Hold on a second.
They had a lady on yelling, "Go! This is in China." The one when some heavy-set lady yelling out of the car where the nurses were like protesting where they couldn't pass.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe I said this. I'm like, I hope she kind of gets it, really. Doesn't spread it to anybody. Just give it to her.
Yeah. I looked at him and I went, this is God's way of weeding out the morons, you know? What they're doing, which pisses me off, it isn't that they are endangering themselves. They're endangering me.
Yeah.
You know? And that bothers me. You know, go ahead. You want to go kill yourself? Here's a gun. Stick it in your mouth and pull the trigger, right? But don't inflict your politics and your feelings on somebody else's health, because being over the age of 80, you could possibly be killing me. That's plain and simple. Yes, Mr. Neary.
They had the governor of New Jersey on, I think Cuomo's tonight.
Yeah.
And they said, he said he's being very cautious, of course, like New York City. And they said that his approval rating has jumped, like a 71% approval rating.
Murphy.
Because Murphy, because his, he's saying, hey, we got to be safe. We need to stay home. You see all the deaths that are still happening. I think they still had the biggest death day today or yesterday.
Yeah, the nursing homes, in the nursing homes, yeah. Yeah,
so his people are really behind him, which is really good to show,
Well, I mean, the thing is that, Cuomo was saying it, and he said that it isn't a matter. We can't take our foot off the pedal. It's getting nice outside. He said that's the big problem. It's getting nice, and we look out the window and we hear the birdies sing, and we want to be out there. We want to be taking a walk. We want to be smelling some fresh air, but you can't do it. But what we do now will determine what happens in the future. He said, if tomorrow I suddenly said, okay, everybody, go outside, do whatever you want to do, open up the restaurants, do all of that, he said, I'll guarantee you within 3 days we'll double the death numbers.
Yep.
Or the numbers of people who get it, okay?
Yep.
Death numbers take a while. He said, it will be that fast. He said, we have to keep doing this until we start seeing, we're seeing results of staying indoors. We've gone in a week, I think we've almost cut the death toll in half, okay, which is pretty phenomenal. A little less than half. What were you saying, Charlene? What? What are you saying, Charlene? We can't hear you.
She broke out.
No, I don't think it's me.
You were you saying something though, Charlene?
Oh no, the new gentleman. What's his name again?
Kevin.
Brian.
Excuse me, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian.
No,
Neary.
he mentioned my governor, Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't allow any knuckleheads to do anything. That's what he calls it. Any knuckleheaded activity, they curtail it. And the nursing homes is where everything's happening in New Jersey. Like, I used to live in New York for years. I was there for almost 30 years before I moved out. But you don't see a lot of older people in New York. At least I didn't. Until I moved to New Jersey, I started seeing like senior citizens. So in New Jersey, it's affecting like nursing homes like crazy.
Oh yeah.
There's a new one. 30 people just died in Paramus in one nursing home. It wiped out the whole nursing home and quite a lot of the staff. So that's the way it's hitting New Jersey. That it's hitting like nursing homes like wildfire.
Yeah.
They're going to get sued, I think. There's going to be a lot of people trying to sue the nursing homes for this. And they're investigating these nursing homes now like crazy. And they can't get anyone to work in them anymore. They're going to have to try to pay a lot of people a lot more money. And did you hear the new thing now? Target is really mad. The people that work there, they're going to go on a work strike. Because I guess they're starting to get more and more money. Amazon's on strike.
But
so
I don't care how much more money you pay somebody if they're putting their life at risk. I don't think they should have to put their life at risk.
Well, they're mad.
If I had a plastic shelf, I'm home.
They said, Alex, that they think people have nothing else to do, so they go out to the stores and drive the workers crazy and act up and breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Spain, they're
to do at-home shopping.
Okay, all right. Now, Brian wants to say something.
I think something on the radio today, and I think they're saying like Spain or something. They weren't allowing any children outside, not even to play, and they just started lifting that restriction just like these next couple days or something.
Well, we thought there were no kids dying. And it turns out there was a 5-year-old kid who died last week.
Yeah,
I read that.
Yeah.
That's
Look, we're going to have a lot of time to go out on sunny days once we get this thing taken care of. But in the meantime, be considerate of your neighbors. Don't go out if you don't have to. Of course, you've got to go to the grocery store occasionally. You can't starve. Between sending out to what is it? I have one service that buys stuff at Costco for me. We have another service, Fresh Direct, where we get food, and we've stocked up on enough food and soda to keep us here for the next millennium. Okay, but we're taking care of ourselves that way. But there are certain things you have to do. You have to go to the grocery store occasionally, but wear gloves, wear a mask, and so on. Right. Patrick?
I guess.
Yeah. What are you doing about getting groceries now? Do you have somebody go get it for you or what?
I've mostly had that done anyway because it's such a pain in the ass since moving to my apartment. Mm-hmm. My garage was attached at my house, so going from the car into the house was a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got people that get them for me. But I mean, if I had a doctor's appointment last week and I didn't wear gloves because I'm not going to go through it again, but I think all of you have heard me how useless gloves and sanitizer are for me personally. So the only thing I wear out is a mask.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's gloves, totally useless. So
why do you feel the gloves are useless?
Rolling around.
Somebody that's heard this, I
Well, it's from
apologize.
because of the wheelchair. Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay. But the reason I wear the gloves is because, for instance, just go down and get the mail. I put on the gloves because I'm touching the buttons on the elevator. Now, last night we had a meeting, the Tenants Association meeting, and we did it by Zoom. So I finally got to see what Zoom looks like full born, and it's okay. It's I couldn't use it here. Okay. And it's a little it has some nice features, and I'm sure within about a week and a half we're going to see them all incorporated into Skype, because Skype's going to want to keep up with Zoom, okay, because it's getting so much publicity. But this is just fine. But we had the Zoom meeting, and nobody could figure out if anybody in the building has COVID. And they say one woman got pneumonia, and then another woman got pneumonia, and they think that's now the code word for COVID. So yes, Vernon.
We got a full house here. Add Mr. Stamper in there.
Add Mr. Who?
The bike rider, Kevin.
Kevin, yeah, I've got Kevin in there. Oh, you know what I didn't do?
No.
Is what I didn't do. I didn't push the button. Here we go. There we go, folks. I'm sorry. Yeah. And now there we go. And there's it's a royal flush, actually. Isn't that a royal flush, Phil?
Full house.
Full house.
It's only a full house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on a second. Then I'm going to have to change that. I don't want anybody accusing me of calling it this jackpot full house. Okay. Now I just change it to full house. There we go. Okay. No, but nobody could figure out if anybody had it in the building, so I not knowing that, I'm still not going to not wear my gloves going down the elevator.
I thought the woman next door. Oh, that wasn't COVID that she died.
No, she died of complications from knee surgery. Yeah, she went into sepsis. But I think she died of COVID in this respect, that if you hadn't had the COVID virus, she probably could have just gone over to Mount Sinai and been taken care of. But because they were so crowded over there, she relied on her doctor to just say, it's okay, take some aspirin, or I'll send you some pills or whatever. And, he didn't see her. He didn't know what was going on. And she died basically from neglect. She might still be alive if the COVID virus thing weren't going on. So
was Hope a COVID ship or a non-COVID ship at the time that she got complications? Because she could have gone to the Hope when it was only seeing non-COVID.
The Hope was non-COVID, I believe, and they turned. Well, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was non-COVID. Yeah, we wound up not even needing it, and our governor said, "You take it if you need it somewhere else, because we don't need it."
That would have been an opportunity for someone like her to use the Hope at that time.
At that time, but the doctor should have said go down to the Hope, or should have said go down to where is it, the place where the big Javits Center, Jacob Javits Center, go there. But he didn't think to do it, and she died of neglect. But because all of this was going on, she died in the confusion.
Are they still using the Javits?
Yeah. They had about 1,200 people in there at one point, they say. And Javits was taking COVID patients. They originally were not going to. That was going to be the overflow for all the people. But what our governor said was we thought that we'd need that kind of facility for non-COVID patients. But then all of a sudden, with all this going on, nobody's murdering anybody and nobody's shooting anybody and nobody's running over anybody in a car. And there are very few emergencies other than COVID emergencies.
I read, and I cannot for the life of me remember where I read it today, that crime had actually increased in certain areas. Yeah.
Well, that I haven't heard. That
see, I don't have my iPad here to look it up.
Yeah. Well, it's probably Alex Jones or somebody like that.
No, it was. I don't know what it was. It was. I can't remember.
You know who rallied all these people to these demonstrations?
Bernie Sanders.
Right?
No, yeah, right. No, it was Alex Jones. It was the one that was just urging them on. He and the president.
I thought Alex Jones didn't have a place to talk anymore.
He does. I mean, look, as long as you've got a computer and as long as you can buy time on a server or as long as you can own your own server, you can spout any idiocy you want to spout. And if people say, well, you can't do it here, well, I guess he can't be on YouTube, but he can drag you to his site. And now he's charging people money for watching him.
I can understand what these protesters are saying.
What are they saying?
Now, maybe for the greater good, they should be a little more magnanimous and worry about their fellow neighbor. But there is an issue with your rights. They're trying to make sure that there isn't an overreach by government.
This isn't a question of overreach. I mean, what the government is simply doing is asking you to do something. In most cases, they're not. In New York, they have decided to impose a fine if you are too close together. Okay, this is for public safety. This isn't a matter of your rights. The old saying is your rights end at the tip of my nose. And the fact is, if you can make me sick, if you can make me die, then you really shouldn't be allowed to engage in that behavior.
We owe it to our fellow man and woman to protect them. And it's rare that I speak up for Sweden, but with Sweden, they had a little less overreach. It was, hey, if you're old, stay inside.
Mm-hmm.
If you're compromised, stay inside. Wear protective things.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you.
Here had about the same rate of fatality.
Well, here in New York, the governor basically did not lay down the law. I mean, he laid down some laws like we're going to close all the restaurants, we're going to close all the movie theaters and things like that.
That makes sense.
But he didn't tell you how you should behave, but why you should behave in a certain way. And people, New Yorkers, came to that calling. In other words, you look out on the street right now, there's nobody out there. Not out of fear, but out of wanting to kill this coronavirus, knowing the way you strangle it is by not feeding it. And the only way you feed it is by passing it from person to person, And New Yorkers have responded to that. That's
Los Angeles, they said that there were so many more people that were asymptomatic or not showing any signs of the virus, but according to them, there was thousands and thousands more that were carrying were positive for it, but not showing things. And they think that this is going to help the second round when the virus comes back, that there'll be a buffer of people that are asymptomatic.
By the time it comes back,
you think it'll mutate?
No, we'll probably have some kind of palliative cure for it. I mean, something that you'll be able to take and it will minimize the problem. Let me tell you this little story. Watch, if you get a chance, watch Frontline this week on PBS. They did a thing on the COVID virus. And it was called Washington to Washington. It was from Washington State and what was going on there and then what was going on in Washington, D.C. And patient one, because they know who patient one was, this guy showed up, patient one showed up at in one of these walk-in hospitals or something in Seattle, and he was patient one, and they were ready for it because they, as a city, had long ago said, let's keep our eyes on viruses around the world, and if we see anything coming this way, let's be looking out for it. And they were looking out for this, and they found it. The first guy came out, and he got into the hospital, and he got real sick. And what they did is they gave him this Revisidire, however it's pronounced. Maybe you can tell us how it's pronounced.
Remadar? I forgot what it was. That was the
Revisidire, I think, is the name of it. They gave it to him, and he lived. He did a turnaround within 24 hours. Now, why that hasn't been used with all these cases across the United States? Because it's in great quantity. It's not one of those drugs that's hard to lay your hands on. It's a drug that was created to fight Ebola, but somehow it didn't, you know. They just say that it's all anecdotal, the research on it, but that so far everybody that takes this stuff, they had something like 100 people they gave it to at one point, and only 2 died, and they don't think they died of the disease. They died of something else. On the other hand, today they came out and said that they had been testing this drug the president talked about and touted at the Veterans Administration, the VA hospitals.
Brian posted something about it.
Read that to us, Brian. Read that to us, Brian.
So they said they tested 368 patients total. 97 took that, and there's a 22.1% death rate. And the other ones, they didn't take it, and they had a less death rate. Yeah, so
11%, right?
Yeah.
So in other words,
using a ventilator. Yeah.
It said that they found that it didn't work, and in spite of the fact that it didn't work, it also killed some people in the process.
Yeah.
This was the stuff the president went on the air and touted, and people went running off to their doctors to get.
Well, he was really quiet. He's been really quiet this last week, and then there was one reporter that kept asking him about it, and then
did you notice how fast today he dodged the question? He just went, "Oh well, all the evidence isn't in yet," or something, and then he went to somebody else. He didn't want to talk about it. Oh no, he dodged it big time.
20% died, so that meant 80% lived.
No, they lived, but it didn't work.
It
didn't work. They said it did not work.
Well, 11% died on the placebo.
Phil,
according to Brian.
Does it say 11% died on the placebo?
That was the forget this. And yeah, they didn't take the drug, and there was 11.4%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's
out of double the patient size though. They say it's a small sample site, but still, if you were to offer me that stuff, I wouldn't take it.
No.
Even if you survive and you get $1 million, it's like still there's a
why we call this stuff anecdotal is because if you survive, perhaps you can correct me on this one, Brian, but if you survive, you may have survived because you took the Revisidire or whatever it's called, but you may have also survived because you were going to survive anyway. All right, so they want to know that it actually worked on you.
Of course.
In the old days, we'd wonder if you could snort it.
Yeah, right. But I just think that by the time the fall gets here, we're going to have some, not what we call, cures. I mean, things that they can give you at the hospital that will minimize the impact of the disease. I think so far as a vaccination is concerned, we're a year and a half to 2 years away on that one. Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
When they have this testing stuff, who's going to pay for the testing?
The government.
Well, the government, hospitals do too.
Hospitals. So this is your lovely governor right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's from today.
Mm-hmm.
Murphy?
No.
Cuomo?
I noticed, Brian, that your machine comes with a TV cabinet.
Yes. No. So yeah. So there's this one
Promo.
and those two. Those are our systems right there. Those are Infinity systems. And then we have this other one system here that's a new system.
Now, what he was talking about there today is kind of interesting, and that is what makes the whole process difficult of testing is that the people who have the tests also sell the testing machine. And if you want to use their test, you got to use their testing machine. And if you want to run another test in your lab, you have to have that other testing machine. And if you want a third one, you got to buy that company's testing machine. That there's no commonality between tests as to the machine you use. And that's all because they want to make a buck, I guess. You know?
It's a monopoly.
Do they all use the same swab? Because now we're short of swabs, right?
Yeah. No. So Cuomo is so they're different platforms. And when you look at Abbott and Roche, they have their samples, their vials, their liquid reagents. They have those off board. So they have to go ahead and take their system and they mix that out of their system with your sample. So our stuff is all self-contained. So like I showed you that cartridge the other night.
Yeah.
We go ahead and load those on our machines with all the dried reagents, but we have all those reagents. We were low on swabs at one time, but the reagents we have. So when he's talking about there aren't reagents for some of these that they're not getting, those are from the other competitors.
Yeah.
They come from China.
But,
Right. Yes, Charlene.
What company is he with?
Who,
Full
Brian?
What company? Because, New Jersey has, what is it?
Cepheid.
Are you in New Jersey? Because New Jersey has a lot of pharmaceuticals. No, okay.
Yeah. Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Did I see somebody else's hand up? No. How are you doing tonight, Brian? What are your thoughts on all of this?
Good.
Oh, wait a minute. Not Brian. Excuse me. I meant Kevin.
Brian, that's his name.
Just, I should just give this whole thing up. I'm getting I'm just getting wacko lately. I take a Xanax to put me to sleep every night, and it robs my memory while it's at it.
Are you still on the gabapentins?
No, I don't use gabapentin.
Did they?
Okay.
What drug did they say could promote prostate cancer? Was it Xanax?
No, Zantac, I think. No, I didn't hear that with prostate cancer.
The Zantac? No.
Yes, Kevin. Anyway, I was asking Kevin. So, any thoughts on any of this?
No, just riding along. My mom got exposed, so I'm kind of waiting to see what happened there.
Oh, no.
Well, how do you know she got exposed? Did she get tested too, or did you just know she got exposed?
She's probably going to get tested. Her caretaker got exposed about 13 days ago. We think she's okay, but she's going to get tested. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything where your mother is concerned because she's older and the caretaker is probably how old? They're
40s,
yeah,
50s.
Yeah,
but they do a real good job there, and they've been actually housing the people that are there. But the one person that goes in and does her stuff only goes there twice or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and she happened to be there doing her pills, and I guess she got exposed, and then let her know right away, I guess, and we found out last week. And she's showing no symptoms or anything, so that's good.
Well,
so
usually this can happen between, I think it's 2 and 10 days is what I've heard.
Yeah, and I think I'm hoping she dodged it. So hopefully when she gets tested, everything's okay.
Vernon, how do you feel our response is going to this whole thing now?
Well, our governor, thank God we elected a Democrat this last time, has been having the daily updates. And yesterday was the largest increase in cases in the state's history. We had 273 more new cases yesterday.
Now you're where again? You're in
Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, some of these states that have up until now been spared the brunt of this are now starting to get the brunt of it quite more. You probably will never get up to New York's level because of the size of Kentucky versus the size of New York. But,
But people
What
are
is
still
Kentucky
getting antsy. I volunteer for Habitat, and we've got some people who are volunteers for Habitat who are anxious to get back to work on houses. And then we have this news that yesterday we had the largest increase in COVID cases in the state's history. So I'm thinking whoever's advocating that is being agitated by Alex Jones, I guess.
Yeah, are they asking you to stay at home
Yes.
in
all the
Kentucky?
volunteer activity.
No, but I
been
mean
shut
in
down.
Kentucky, are the people in Kentucky being asked to stay at home, and have they
Yes,
closed
there is.
down restaurants and things like that?
Yeah, you
Are
can.
you going to work?
Restaurants can pick up only. I went to and got a pizza the other day at Pizza Hut, and they bring it to your car.
Oh,
Vernon,
okay.
are you still going to work because your employer is a what do they call essential employer?
Yes, I work every Friday at Home Depot, and I do wear a mask and gloves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was big increase, Vernon, in Kentucky due to a assisted care facility where there was a large death?
I think there was some of that, and I've been watching Rachel Maddow the last week, and she's the one who kind of exposed where nursing homes have been totally neglected up until now.
One of the reasons they got neglected, I think, is because the people who are in those homes are neglected. This is like
These
where
are for-profit institutions for the most part, so
Exactly.
they're run on a dime.
Well, I
Run on a shoestring.
had my mother in a healthcare facility in San Francisco before I got
That was
her
the
in.
best.
No, not the first one.
In the Jewish Home for the Aged?
No, the first one we had her in because we were waiting to get her into the Jewish Home for the Aged, but this place had to take her for the time being. They did the best they could, but they didn't have the budget to do it well. And so they didn't have enough nurses per person there and so on. It wasn't until we got her into the Jewish home where there was a care worker there for every person that was there. There were about 300 people in the place and 300 people working there.
Most of these homes, they also use institutional food, which is full of salt and just awful. If the neglect doesn't kill you, the food will.
Well, and also there's a whole thing that goes on in all of that, where people are what's the word I'm looking for? Where people are just not being taken well care of. In other words, they're fed, then they put them in a chair and they sit there all day. They don't do anything to give them activities or to keep them motivated and whatever. So, I'm not surprised that these places have become breeding grounds because I don't think a lot of these places really cared. Now, I have a friend who's in a facility right now, Will Durst. Yeah. I wonder how he's doing. His wife, Debbie, hasn't been able to see him since this whole thing started.
Wow. Is he aware now, that...
Oh, he's aware of what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. But I hope he's safe in the place that he's in. We have a friend, he's named Lee. We love him dearly, and he had to go into one of these facilities because he's come down with some kind of condition where, quite frankly, he can't stay at home anymore. And there have been a couple of cases of COVID in that facility. But so far, he hasn't gotten it, and it hasn't spread. But you worry about as soon as you hear that you send somebody to these places so they're taken good care of, and all of a sudden this becomes the breeding ground for death. It's horrible.
I've got a buddy that I was talking to him about this the other day, and he was saying, hey, if you go to like Greece or Italy, you can live, not with the COVID now, but you can live and retire. You get up, you go out to the beach. You can get somebody to, wait on you, cook your food and so forth for, very little money. And you could live a much better lifestyle. Matter of fact, he's going back to Greece and Italy to check it out again for himself. He's in his later years. And he said he doesn't want to end up in a home. He would rather go there and change his lifestyle where there's no stress and excellent food. And
the difference is to begin with, we don't really respect old people in this country. Other countries do respect old people. In fact, in England, as an example, once a year, if you're over a certain age, they actually pay for you to have a vacation in another country.
Yeah.
Because and it's their way of saying, you contributed to the society for all these years, and now we're going to take care of you.
They even let old people be queen and prince and
yes,
things like
exactly. they especially let old women
97 running around driving a car, hitting people, and they still let them be the prince.
I'm wondering how often Charles goes up behind the queen and goes, "Boo,
boo."
He tried it. That's why they put him out in Wales.
I mean, just waiting for him to die. I want to show you something. Look at my hair. Look at this. Look. Look. And the other day I was trying to just clip it slightly using clippers, and I accidentally took a nick out of me here. I don't know if you can even see it. So Marjorie has said she wants to cut my hair for me, and I don't know. Women all have this Delilah complex with guys. And every woman I've ever known's wanted to cut my hair. You're nodding yes, Kevin. You agree with that?
Can you use that stuff that Nair on your?
Oh, I'm sure
scalp?
I could, but I would look like Charlie Brown.
You're almost back to the old days.
Yeah, I'm almost back to the old days, but I mean, it's just like, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to go to a barber. And then I tried to order clippers from Amazon, and they're all out of them. Or if I want a clipper, I can get one, I think, delivered in June. Okay. By then, I'm going to look like an upside down Kevin. Okay.
Is that a comb over?
Huh?
Is that a comb over?
Yeah, I could do a comb over at that point. Yeah. Boy. So I mean, I don't know what to do about this. If you look at the side, this is I can't even tamp that down. Maybe I'll go down to the store and buy hairspray, although they're probably out of that too.
You got a product.
What's wonderful to see? What's wonderful to see is all these hosts of these talk shows who are doing them from home, can't leave their home, can't go get a haircut, and their makeup person isn't there. And so they're all doing their own makeup, and their hair is getting, they're trying the best they can with their hair. And yesterday I yelled and screamed for Marjorie to come into the bedroom. I said, look, and I showed her, and it was Kellyanne Conway talking to Fox News, and her hair and her makeup, it was badly put on makeup. Her hair looked crappy. It was stringy. She
looks like my Aunt Tilly.
It's wonderful to see how these people are starting to look when they don't have makeup. Yeah. Yes.
Did you hear her the other night? The other night she said, "This is not COVID-1, people. This is COVID-19. We should know by now."
Yes. Right. Yes.
Have you seen the I guess it's a meme or whatever, the guy in the Walmart where he's swapping out the colors of the hair color thing, and he's taking one out of the box and putting it into another one, and he's doing that with 15 different colors, and he's taking one out of one box and putting it taking the blonde and putting it in the brunette box, and he's taking the other color, the redhead, and putting it. You swapped them all out and closing the boxes back up and putting them on the shelves.
Well, the curtain's definitely not going to match the rug.
Yeah, exactly. That's for damn sure. I mean, this is just, it's going to get rougher now because, as I say, the summer is here. I mean, spring is here. The birds are chirping. They're flying around having a good time out there. And you want to be out there with them, and you really can't. I mean, I was talking to Ronnie today, and I said to her, at least you can get in a car and you can go to some woods somewhere where you live, and you can take a walk through the woods. And there's no way you're going to get the virus doing that, not unless it really travels super far. I don't know about a lot of you. You have a car, Kevin. You, Phil, you have a car. You can get in that car and go someplace safe. We can't even do that here in New York City.
I went to Grass Valley on Friday. That was like a 2.5 hour ride.
Right.
Each way.
Yeah, but I mean, if you wanted to tomorrow go to the top of Mount Tamalpais, there's nobody up there. You can go out there in the weeds and run
They're
around.
saying that the nature has changed too. Like all the animals are starting to come closer to the cities, and you go down to the beach, and all the wildlife's coming back up on the shore. And
you know why? Because what's happening is the restaurants don't have food. There are certain animals, what is it, like rats and so forth, I think in New York, because the restaurants aren't disposing of food in dumpsters. The rats are, looking around for things to eat.
Yeah.
And,
I was talking about fish like in Molokini and things like that, not rats.
well, there's very little fish in Molokini. It's been, they've trampled the coral. So
well, they've all come back.
Well, not
the porpoises.
What
and
the
all
hell
that
is a
stuff.
molokini?
Like down here in Monterey, the Monterey Bay has gotten more active.
Yeah, I dive Molokini fairly often, and I dive Monterey Bay fairly often, and I can tell you that Monterey Bay has really decent, very good life, but Molokini has been just trampled. That's the crater that off Maui, Alex.
I did that years ago, and it was okay, but
I did it. I first did it in 1980, and it was unbelievably packed with life. Now, there's a fish here.
Here's something that's interesting. Here's something that's interesting. L.A., if you've ever lived there, and if you have, my regrets to you, is perhaps the most polluted city in America, mainly because it's in a bowl. It's in kind of a basin. And the basin, it has a hard time for exhaust and everything, smoke, to get out of it. Winds don't naturally uplift it and get it out. Supposedly, you can see forever in L.A. now.
In the 70s, L.A.
20%.
You can see the mountains.
Yeah.
But as things have improved with automobiles and pollution control, it's gotten them a lot better.
Yes, but supposedly it's very clear now.
Wow.
And that a lot of cities are that way too. So maybe this is a good thing. I don't know.
They said even China's cleaner.
Oh, China. Oh, that's the place I heard. Beijing, which, has a very bad pollution problem. They said it was just clean as hell. It was just, terrific.
And their masks off.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, it's been much more expensive to live this way, and it's been cheaper to live this way. It's more expensive in that I have to hire somebody for about $40 to go get my food for me. But on the other hand, it's cheaper because I think I had like $200 and $20 bills in my pocket, and I put it in my pocket a month ago, and it's still got about 180. So I haven't been spending the money that way. And,
do you find that you spend cash or you use a debit card?
We're using credit cards.
I often find that I don't have any money on me, because I don't have any need for it.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you need it. There's less and less need, but there's some markets I go to. There's a fish market here in our area where I don't think you can use I guess you can use a credit card there if you want to, but I have it as walking around money, and usually by the end of 4 weeks it's gone, but it's still there. It's still there. The other problem we're facing, and this is a god-awful problem, the allergies here have just been unrelenting. Quiet as hell. Terrible as hell, rather. I think it was 11.2 today out of 12. And it's been even higher than that. And today I've been just,
You taking anything for allergies?
I can't take some of the things because it affects the prostate. But so I take this stuff, which is the marketed name is Flonase. This was this is the pharmaceutical version, and it's good. It's it helps a little bit. Nothing helps really. I'm just a sniffly kind of person. We haven't heard anything from Charlie. You've been very quiet today.
Yeah, I'm kind of worn out.
Worn out from what? Just sitting around, not doing anything?
I can't sleep these days. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I can't get back to sleep until 7.
Really?
So I'm not sleeping well.
You know what I did with my Alexa? I found out you could do it. I told her to play sounds for sleep and to play rain. And I did that this morning when I woke up and I wanted to go back to sleep. I'd never done that before. And I put on the rain and I went, God, that's annoying. And the next thing I knew, it was 2 hours later, I had fallen asleep and it just drifted me off to sleep.
Years ago, got the beach one too.
I had a sharper image alarm clock, and it played different sounds. Like you could have the ocean and waves and things like that.
Yeah,
I kind of liked it.
Rain is fine, you know. Yeah. What did you say, Kevin? You said that there are other sounds or something.
Yeah, there's tell them to play the ocean. And they got the beach.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah.
But then I turned it on for Marjorie so she could go to sleep tonight. But after an hour, it turns itself off. And
I'd like, should be out by then.
But I'd like to listen to it while I'm, sleeping for the whole night. Wake up to the sound of the sea or whatever.
Tell it to play the Ramble. You'll be out in 10 seconds.
Yeah, right.
That's what I do.
Yeah. But today Cuomo went down to Washington, met with Trump to talk to him about testing. And trying to get him to also give some money to the states because the states have not been bailed out, and they need bailing out at this point.
That part of the new PPP package?
No, it's not. But they're trying. That's what he was trying to get was for them to add that.
I thought he did.
I don't know that he did. He said the president said he would consider it and present it. Okay.
What the idea was, they delayed the second round of funding because they wanted to include things for hospitals and testing and so forth.
And they also wanted to see if Chris needed any more money than they were already getting.
He's eating that loan every time he goes in there.
I thought that with the prices that Ruth Chris charges, that the $20 million they got will get you a meal for 6. And you still have to pay for your own dessert. And
a separate potato, separate potato.
Yeah. By the way, it's Ruth's Chris.
I said Ruth's Chris.
It's very hard to remember. You want to say Ruth Chris's.
I know.
As opposed to Charlie's Chris.
She bought a restaurant called Chris's Steakhouse, right?
Yeah.
And so it became Ruth's,
Chris Steakhouse. I see. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But they took the money. They took the $20 million. On the other hand, Shake Shack, which is owned by Danny Meyer, who's a very big restaurateur, they gave him $10 million, and he said, "I'm sending it back. I'm not going to take this money." Other people need it more than I do. Small businesses need it more than I do.
They said that, or Trump said that these places really shouldn't have qualified for the money, and they're going to go and get it back.
Oh, okay. I hope so. I want to see Ruth's in trouble. Yes, Vernon.
One thing that I take back some of the nasty things I said about Home Depot, because when all of this hit, one good thing they did for their workers was any full-time employees were given 80 hours of emergency leave, and part-timers like myself were given 40 hours of emergency leave, and if you don't use it by the end of the year, they'll pay you for it. And 4 weeks later, they did it again. So full-timers now have 160 hours, and part-timers have 80 hours of emergency leave.
That's very good. That's the way you take care of your people. That's the way you respond
Plus they
to
limit the number of people in the store at any one time.
Yeah.
Number of customers.
Well, just wear the mask, wear the gloves. Yes, quickly, Patrick, because the theme's going to play here. What?
Yep.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. What?
Jeff wanted to say something.
Oh, I was going to say something.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, I'm getting the money from the government, which I don't particularly need.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give to some cousin who's broke right now.
That's good. I gave half of mine to Marjorie. She took it like well, she took it. Anyway, hey, listen, I gotta go here because the theme is playing. Thank you so much to Brian, and thank you so much to Charlie. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to Vernon. Thank you to our good friend Tony. I always forget your name. Patrick, Kevin. Hey, all of you. Boy, and Brian. God, this makes it quite a few nights for you. Good having you on here. We really enjoy you. You're funny and you're smart and you really add to it. And all
going
of
to Georgia for a tattoo.
Well, yeah, right. Anyway, that's it. Why don't you all kind of wave goodbye and I'll wave back at you, okay? There they go. That's the citizen panel. And maybe some of them will stick around and be part of the citizen panel on the Jack Bishop show, which is The Intersection, which comes up next right here on GabNet. I will be back here again tomorrow night. 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time, same time. Hold on a second. What happened to my? Oh boy. There we go. Suddenly my screen went blank. Nothing goes right. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye.